says every person in this room, every human walking the world has learned a winning strategy. And for us, particularly the way that we come up, it's typically built on technical skills. And you get it early, very, very early in school. You start learning how to be technical, how to have the right answers, how to listen, how to do the homework, how to get all the answers right, how to make the good grades. And often in that social messages, on top of that, we learn to ignore much of our emotional part. We have messages that say, you gotta, just keep quiet, put all that down, stay focused, do what's important, do what's right, don't talk about it, no complaint, all these things, where we start ignoring what's going on in us emotionally. We learn to do that early on. Now, here's the interesting thing about it. If you look at the success correlates of jobs, at an entry-level job, about 90% of success correlates are technically related. So you come into an early job, technical skill going to make you sail. At the highest level jobs, and not just positionally, but the ones that cross the most boundaries, that have the most leading influence, the success correlates are about 90% emotional intelligence skills. They're about social skills. Because you can't know it all. Now you need technical skills, and not to say they're not important, but what makes people succeed, what makes them great at those levels, interpersonal. Now, the trick, left alone, if you don't intervene on this, because of our consequence history, what served you, what got you to where you are, may very easily be your biggest liability. Because early on, we went through technical skills. And we learned that. So if you talk about Roy, that's what happened with him. He was so amazingly technical. And when he got to the point where he needed more relationship skills, he did what's called an extinction response. Meaning that he had a learned behavior, be very, very technical, it stopped working. So instead of, saying, hey, that's not working, what will work? What did he do? He did it harder, longer, more of it, because it had been his greatest strength. So it's like trying, going back to your most trusted friend that says, this has got me here, I'm going to pull this out. The chips are really down, I'm really going to pull it out. And it just kept dragging him worse and worse and worse. So left unchecked, your winning strategy from the past doesn't predict the future. It's like driving in the rearview mirror. So you always have to look and say, you have to take time to say, what creates success where I'm going? What's going to make me succeed out there? And you have to look outside yourself rather than in your performance history. You look for who's been there and what did they do. Steps. Here's what you can do. Number one, take responsibility for your own leadership capacity. Nobody else does it. Nobody else owns it. It's yours. And you got to take responsibility. Second thing, you've got to define clearly what you want, why you're doing it, why it matters. How will you put that together in your life, and how will you live it out? And then the third thing, get help. And I say that because we're standing in our own shoes. We can't see ourselves. We don't see what we look like when we talk. We don't know what we feel like to other people. So it all has to come from the social mirror. So you have to step out into that social network to be able to learn about yourself. So do that. Take the time. Understand. Here's how I come across. Now, the last thing is a quote from Reverend Jesse Jackson. It says, you can't teach what you don't know, and you can't lead where you won't go. So until you're willing to step into a place of inspiration, to build your presence, to know where you're going to go, no one's going to go with you. You're not going to know how to get them there. So this first step. So just backing up, the three things that I covered: inspirational presence, a winning strategy, and an envision practice. Now, I want to add on the other reality of this. It's like I just gave you a lecture about gravity, and it was the first time you ever heard about it. Because we would say, oh, wow, gravity, now how am I going to use that? Well, the news is, every one of you has presence, and you use it all the time. Every one of you already has a winning strategy, and you use it all the time. And every one of you already has a leadership practice. It's what you rehearse every day in the way you think and see the world. The question is it the one you want? Is it getting you what you want in life? And if it's not, then back to that first step. You take responsibility and you change it. So just go away knowing you got one, it's at play, You're going to walk out that door and you're going to practice leading every moment of every day.